haunted pillar, or the cursed pillar, stands as an eerie reminder of a forgotten past in the heart of downtown Augusta, Georgia, once a part of a bustling farmer's market at 5th and Broad Streets. This weathered stone column now looms like a dark sentinel amidst the ruins. But what makes this pillar so terrifying is not its age or its crumbling structure, but the unsettling legend that surrounds it. Locals whisper of a terrible curse tied to the pillar, said to have been placed there to mark a grim chapter in the market's history. It's rumored that the pillar was erected after a violent tragedy, where a farmer's brutal death at the hands of an angry mob left the land tainted. Those who dared to approach the pillar at night reported hearing whispers, as though the wind carried voices of those long gone. Some claimed to see faint figures moving around it, distorted and spectral, forever trapped in a world between the living and the dead. Strange occurrences plague anyone who comes too close. Cold chills grip the spine. Footsteps echo in the silence, and a dreadful presence is felt, as if something is watching from the shadows. The haunted pillar is not just a landmark. It's a doorway to the past, and the spirits that linger within are far from at peace. The Highgate Vampire is a chilling tale that still haunts the eerie corridors of Highgate Cemetery in London in the late 1960s and early 1970s. The cemetery, already known for its looming, crumbling tombstones, became the center of horrifying reports. Witnesses claimed to have seen an unnatural figure, tall, pale, with piercing eyes, and the unmistakable air of something unnervingly inhuman. Some described it as a vampire, others as a dark, supernatural force that preyed on the living. The sightings were strange and terrifying. Eyewitnesses reported being paralyzed with fear as the vampire appeared in the shadows, its eyes glowing with malevolent intent. The air around it grew icy, suffocating, and many who encountered the entity felt a deep, as if something ancient and evil was watching their every move. People claimed that the creature would vanish into the crypts, only to reappear at nightfall, as if the cemetery itself were its lair. In the frenzy that followed, reports of bizarre occurrences, disembodied screams, unnerving shadows, and a general sense of foreboding escalated. Soon, the media picked up on the hysteria, fueling the growing legend of the Highgate vampire, a creature that still lingers in the cemetery's darkness. Some say it never left. In the murky depths of the Pacific coast, beneath waves that hide countless mysteries, lurks a creature known to locals as Cadborosaurus, or simply Caddy. Tales of this monstrous sea serpent have haunted the people of British Columbia for generations. Dark, fearsome, and elusive, Caddy is said to dwell in the cold, shadowy waters of Cadboro Bay, emerging only when least expected to send shivers down the spines of those who dare venture too close. Those who claim to have seen Caddy describe it as a long, sinuous beast, its body twisting and coiling through the water with terrifying grace. Its head, reptilian and cold, rises silently from the waves, eyes glinting with a predatory intelligence, as if sizing up its next victim. The creature's mouth, lined with razor-sharp teeth, opens in a silent scream, promising a swift end to anything that crosses its path. Witnesses say that, at night, its scales reflect a ghostly shimmer, a faint glow that disappears as quickly as it appears, swallowed up by the ocean's darkness. Fishermen have reported feeling an eerie stillness in the water, and a natural quiet that settles before Caddy surfaces. Boats have been found mysteriously overturned, nets shredded and equipment destroyed. Some swear they've seen bodies, mangled and broken, washed ashore, victims they believe of this ancient, merciless predator. Legends say that Caddy is as old as the ocean itself, a survivor from a forgotten age, hungry and restless in its eternal watch. And if you ever find yourself alone on the waters of Cadboro Bay, be wary. You might just glimpse a shadow beneath your boat. Feel the icy chill of something massive brushing against you from below. But remember, if you see Caddy, it's already too late. Deep in the dense, shadowy forests of Mexico lurk the Chinex, small, sinister beings of Aztec mythology, creatures twisted by the ancient secrets of the underworld. Known as guardians of the wild, these entities are said to protect mountains and creatures, but their methods are anything but gentle. Those who wander too far into their realm often find themselves lost, surrounded by the whispering shadows of these creatures, who watch with dark, gleaming eyes. The Shinekes appear as tiny men and women, size fool you. They are as ancient as the mountains themselves, with wrinkled faces that twist into sly, knowing smiles, and voices that mimic the sounds of the forest. Leaves rustling, branches cracking, animals calling. They're often spotted just out of reach, watching intruders with a curious, malevolent gaze. And if you catch a glimpse of them, it's already too late. Legend has it that the Sheneks guard their sacred lands with ruthless cunning. If they catch you trespassing, they'll trap you in their twisted labyrinth of roots and shadows, luring you deeper and deeper until you're utterly lost. And for those unfortunate enough to cross their path directly, the Sheneks are said to steal a part of your spirit, leaving you hollow, haunted, a mere shadow of your former self. Some who have encountered the Sheneks return, but they're never quite the same. They speak of hearing eerie laughter that echoes in their minds, seeing flashes of tiny figures darting through the corner of their vision, and they always warn, never stray too deep into the forest. The Shenekes are watching, guarding, waiting, for they are the keepers of the wild, and their spirits hunger for any who dare to disturb their domain. In the dead silence of the night, a woman returned home to an eerie sight. Her loyal Doberman, gasping and choking, its powerful body convulsing on the floor. Panic surged as she knelt by her faithful pet, its eyes wide with desperation, pawing frantically at its throat. She wrestled with its jaws, struggling to dislodge whatever was caught. Finally, with a sickening pull, she freed a grotesque object, a severed, bloodied human finger. Horrified, she quickly dialed the vet, explaining in broken words the disturbing discovery. "Get here now," she urged, barely able to suppress the terror building inside her. Leaving her Doberman with the vet, she returned home, shaken but grateful her dog had survived the encounter. Yet as she walked into her darkened living room, a sudden chill ran down her spine. Her skin prickled as if she was being watched. Then came a soft, almost imperceptible sound. Something dragging across the floor, moving closer. She reached for her phone, heart pounding, and dialed the police, whispering her fears into the receiver. When the officers arrived, they searched the house. In the shadows of her bedroom closet, they found him, a man crouched and clutching his bleeding hand, his face twisted in rage and pain, his gaze wild. Her Doberman had done more than just protect. It had bitten clean through the intruder's fingers, forcing him into hiding as he bled out in her own home, lurking only feet away. As they hauled the intruder away, the woman shivered, realizing how close she had been to unspeakable horror. Her brave Doberman had saved her life, but the chilling reminder of those bloodied fingers, a haunting trophy of terror, would forever linger in her memory. wasn't an ordinary machine, but a contraption as twisted as the minds of those who wielded it. Stories tell of police or military interrogators, grim-faced and humorless, who would lead suspects into dim, flickering rooms. There, in the center of a barren table, sat a colander, connected by tangled wires to a clunky, whirring photocopier. With cold hands and steely eyes, they would press the colander onto the suspect's head, the metal pressing down cold and biting. The suspect, bewildered and terrified, would feel every nerve prickling with dread, trapped under that metallic cage as the interrogators began their relentless questioning. For every answer, their eyes would narrow, scrutinizing the slightest twitch, listening to the hum of the machine as if it were an oracle. And then the moment of terror, the photocopier would sputter, lights flashing as it spat out a single sheet of paper. In bold, damning letters it read, "He's lying. No escape. No mercy." The suspect's denials would crumble under the weight of that simple, ominous phrase. Each lie printed like a final verdict, sealing their fate in ink. For hours the interrogation would continue, each piece of paper a silent accusation. Those trapped by the colander lie detector soon broke, their confessions ripped from them by fear and paranoia, convinced the machine held powers beyond human comprehension. And while rational minds would dismiss this setup as a mere psychological trick, to those who lived through it, the memory of that cold colander and the whispering hum of the photocopier still haunts their darkest nightmares. They say that some suspects, after enduring this twisted ritual, could still hear the faint sound of that photocopier, a ghostly reminder of the machine that could see through lies and leave nothing but a trail of fear in its wake. The tragic death of James Dean in 1955 left behind more than just a mournful legacy. It unleashed a malevolent curse tied to his iconic Porsche 550 Spider, nicknamed Metal Bastard. The car, which Dean was driving when he met his untimely death, became the focus of a chilling urban legend. The story goes that anyone who took a piece of the wreckage from Little Bastard was doomed to suffer a horrific fate, usually in a car accident of their own. Mechanics, fans, and even curious onlookers who dared to claim parts of the car, an engine, a tire, a seat, found themselves drawn into a web of death and destruction. One by one, those who tampered with the wreck met violent ends, often in accidents eerily similar to Dean's. The curse didn't stop there. The wreckage itself seemed to carry an unrelenting evil. The car, inertia lives on, a reminder that some tragedies do not simply fade with time. They become warnings, lingering in the shadows, waiting to claim the next victim. If you ever encounter Little Bastard, don't touch it. The curse is waiting. Deep in the shadowy woods, near Harper's Crossroads, North Carolina, lies a cursed clearing known as the Devil's Tramping Ground. This forsaken patch of earth is like no other. A circle of barren ground where no tree, no grass, nor even the faintest weed will grow. Locals fear it, and with good reason. It is said that the devil himself walks here, leaving behind a desolate trail where nothing will grow. Night after night, the ground remains eerily still, but the legends tell a different story. Those brave or foolish enough to camp nearby often report strange, unexplainable events, whispered voices that chill the blood, footsteps in the darkness that echo too close for comfort, and an overwhelming sense of being watched. Some claim that if you try to sleep in the circle, you'll awaken to find your belongings scattered, your camp destroyed, yet no one will be in sight. A far more terrifying tale is that those who wander is a chilling urban legend that has gripped the imaginations of music fans and mystics alike. A macabre pattern woven into the lives of some of the world's brightest stars. It is said that a disturbing number of celebrated musicians and artists, those who reach the peak of their creative power, meet their end at the age of 7, as if some dark force claims them before they can fully realize their potential. Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse, and Jean-Michel Basquiat, each of them brilliant and tragic in their own right, died at this cursed age, their lives snuffed out in ways as mysterious as they were haunting. Some say it's a cruel twist of fate. Others whisper that a sinister force, something beyond mere coincidence, pulls these gifted souls into the abyss, despite studies debunking the statistical spike of musician deaths at 27. The legend persists, fueled by the sheer number of luminaries who met their end at that cursed age. The mystery deepens with each new member of the club. Every death, a reminder that talent and fame come at a dreadful price. The 27 Club is not just a myth, it's a grim reminder that some things are too powerful to be explained, an eerie mark, a final note that echoes through history, far too chilling to ignore. The 1962 Halloween massacre is a haunting legend that chills the soul. Shrouded in mystery and darkness, the story revolves around a single horrifying photograph taken at a seemingly innocent Halloween costume party. The photo, which has circulated through the years, shows a group of people laughing and dancing, unaware of the unspeakable horror that would soon unfold. According Some say the killer was hiding among them, cloaked in costume, blending into the revelry. The massacre, though, was too brutal, too grotesque for anyone to believe. Whispers claim that the killer was never caught, and that the picture itself holds a dark secret, a silent witness to the horror. The photograph is said to be cursed. Anyone who looks too long at it, or even dares to search for it, may feel an overwhelming sense of dread, as though the spirits of the victims are watching, waiting for justice. To this day, no one knows the full truth behind the 1962 Halloween massacre, and perhaps it's better that way. Some horrors are best left in the dark. The legend of the Frozen Hill people is one of the most chilling tales to emerge from the snow-covered hills of Bridgewater Corners, Vermont. It dates back to December 21st, 1887, when a poor farming family, isolated by the unforgiving wilderness, disappeared into the bleak winter landscape. Struggling with poverty, the family was forced to endure harsh, unrelenting winters in their humble cabin. But on that fateful winter night, a mysterious cold swept through the hills, colder than anything anyone had ever experienced. Neighbors in nearby settlements spoke of hearing strange, bone-chilling howls in the dead of night, and thick, unnatural fog rolling down from the mountains. When a search party finally made its way to the family's cabin, they found something unimaginable. The family, father, mother, and children, were discovered frozen, their bodies eerily preserved in time, as if the cold had stolen their very souls. But it wasn't just the unnatural frost that unnerved the rescuers. It was their faces. The frozen expressions of horror etched into their features seemed to suggest something far worse had happened before their bodies succumbed to the cold. Their eyes were wide open, locked in a silent scream. Some say the family never died, but were trapped in a nightmarish, endless sleep, cursed by an ancient force that still haunts the hills. On moonless nights, locals claim to hear faint whispers carried by the wind, agonized voices of the frozen hill people, waiting for Ghost Boy of Clinton Road is one of the most unsettling urban legends, set in the eerie, desolate stretches of Clinton Road in New Jersey. The legend tells of a boy, young and innocent, whose life was tragically cut short near an old, crumbling bridge that spans the dark waters below. Since his death, he is said to haunt the bridge, waiting for the living to come and play his haunting game. Those brave or foolish enough to stop at the bridge and toss a coin into the murky water below might find themselves in the grip of something truly supernatural. As the coin sinks into the dark abyss, the legend claims that the ghostly boy, his presence barely more than a shadow in the dim light, will return the coin to you. But it isn't just the coin that's returned. There's something more chilling about the encounter. As you wait in the silence, the temperature drops, and you may feel a cold hand brush against your own. The touch of the boy reaching out from the grave. Some say the boy's ghost is trying to communicate, trapped in a never-ending loop, replaying his last moments. Others whisper that his return of the coins is a dark invitation, an omen that something more sinister waits in the shadows, watching and waiting for the next visitor. The Ghost Boy of Clinton Road is not just a tale to be told. It's a warning. If you ever find yourself standing near the bridge, don't throw the coin, because if he comes back